I didn't get the opportunity to meet Raj Kapoor. I was born 2 years after he passed away. Yes, of course, there's a certain void that you didn't meet a certain grandparent, and I think that gives you an opportunity to learn more about the person. Until I was 5 or 6, my mom would I would not eat food, so she would kind of put the Joker circus part of the Joker film, and I would look at my grandfather and I thought he was like a clown in the circus. We were too young. In good times and bad times, the Kapoor family are very, very strong and strong for each other, and we come together as an army with certain incidents recently, and with my a lot of losses within our family. It's been very tragic. Karishma eats a lot more than Karina. A lot more than Karina. I don't know her metabolism. She's so lucky. She was one of the first people in our family to really get into fitness in her generation. They have a lot of Nanda blood, I'll be honest. They have a fair bit of, Bachchan and Kapoor blood. Yeah, I think it's a good mix. I think they've got the best of, all their family members.
Hi guys, welcome to Screen. So Arman, I wanted to start with you. We see in the documentary Dining with the Kapoors that you confess or you reveal that you've never met your late grandfather, and you're trying your best to revive his legacy or to restore his legacy. We all know, obviously he lives on through his movies. There's like a poster of him right here in my room. But I want to know about the man that he was, and what have you learned about him as a man through the stories of your relatives across all generations who've met him.
No, of
What is your
course.
sense of him?
I think like you said, legacy. I think his legacy is vast. I think every family member, all our family members are trying to take a piece of that legacy forward. What I've seen growing up, I'll come back to your question, but what I've seen growing up predominantly, because I didn't meet him, was food and was family and get-togethers and gatherings. And I think that's what we're doing today with Dining with the Kapoors. I have a food business called Jungly Kitchen, where I'm trying to take a small part of that food legacy I've seen growing up ahead. I think we all are trying to contribute in our own manners within this family with both film and food, and take this forward. Yeah, so I think every member is trying to take a certain aspect of that legacy forward. Yeah, coming to the point of I didn't get the opportunity to meet Raj Kapoor. I was born 2 years after he passed away. Whatever I do know about him was, through my grandmom and mostly my mother, Rima, who spent a lot of time with him growing up. They were very close, very bonded. They had a father-daughter relationship, also a sibling-like relationship, very open, very, it's beautiful when I hear these stories. Yes, of course, there's a certain, void that you didn't meet a certain grandparent. And I think that gives you an opportunity to learn more about the person. I mean, there's always there's an intrigue about what he was like, how he's with my mother or my cousins. Uh, but I'm very privileged that he had so much work in cinema to kind of showcase us when we were kids, 3 and 4. And I'm talking about 30 years ago. You didn't really have media, social media, so much access. But he had films, so my mom could show me films. So when I was very young, I would watch until I was 5 or 6. My mom would I would not eat food, so she would kind of put the Joker circus part of the Joker film, and I would look at my grandfather and I thought he was like a clown in the circus. We were too young. So that my early discovery was more, him as a clown, circus joker. And then, as I grew older, obviously kind of discovered that, okay, this is, someone who's, very, he's in the whole film space, and I kind of followed his work after that. But I also, through stories, kind of I got to kind of understand that he was really a big family man, and so many different insights. And yeah, I mean, it was lovely growing up with these stories.
Yeah. Smriti, since you've directed the romantics as well as Dining with the Kapoors, what is your sense of these legacy film families, and both their professional legacy as well as their personal legacy? What is their contribution to, say, pop culture, to just culture of India for the rest of the world? Yeah.
There's so much to say about that. I think with all of these families, they have essentially given us, our memories, um, in some cases our values, in some cases our history, as reflected through the films for generations, whether it's the Chopra family and the Romantics or the Kapoor family, which for so many years have given us theater and film and, pop culture and everything. I mean, they are generation after generation are so much a part of my core memories, especially as an NRI, because I had, you know, less access, to India than maybe someone like Armaan who grew up there. So the films were my surrogate, to that culture. So they gave me so much of that. But I think what also, particularly the Kapoor family, really represents in their personal, dynamics and everything is what we all deal with in our families, where in this day and age, where in a joint family, multi-generational homes as much anymore, and that sort of culture is being lost. It's times evolve and people have to evolve with it. But the fact that this family is able to retain that connection to their roots through food and through each other, I think is so special. And I think that's really what I hope, when people watch this, I hope people will make, Sunday afternoon, gather with their families, watch. It's a 60 minutes, you could watch it as an appetizer, dining with the Kapoors, watch it together, and then have a big meal of their own food traditions, the dishes that they grew up with and that are meaningful to them. For me and my family, it was dal bati. Every Sunday was either kati dal chawal or dal bati. And, so to have those meals with their families, tell stories about their families and their previous generations and their legacies, share stories and make it an afternoon. That's really what I would love most. That's what I really learned from the Kapoor family is that, the chamber bungalow may be gone, the studio may be gone, so much was lost to the fire in the studio and all of that. But the connection between the generations remains. And a lot of that is because of the food. And honestly, I will say a lot of that is because of Armaan. He really makes an effort through the food to keep those memories and those traditions alive.
That's nice. So Arman, we see that despite your best efforts, some members of your family could not make it to your lunch. So I just want to know why couldn't they? Where was Alia? Where was Agastya? If you can tell us.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think everyone has busy schedules, pre-commitments to kind of shoots, travels. So I mean, most of our gatherings you'll always see whether it's Diwali, Christmas, or generally when we catch up, there are always a couple of people missing because of work. And I think, I mean, work is work, and work is super important to kind of attend if you have prior commitments. So. For multiple reasons, we missed, a bunch of people. Even my cousin Nikhil was in Delhi. He had work commitments there as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's obviously 100th birth anniversary year of the great Raj Kapoor, but it's also been a tough year for the Kapoor family because there's been, an attack at home, a death in the family. So does that spirit of, bouncing back from such tragedies, does that also come from the lighthouse that Raj Kapoor was? Because we've seen it through his cinema that it was all about tragedy but also about accepting that tragedy and embracing it. So how much is an emotional inspiration is Raj Kapoor to you guys even today?
No, I mean, see again, this is how we started this whole conversation, and I mean, these are stories that I've heard because I've not met him, and even when you talk about Raj Kapoor, actually, the first thing is just cinema and cinema and cinema. He would eat, breathe, and sleep cinema. That was it for him, right? He would put everything on the line. The sacrifices, literally not having anything in his pockets to kind of even make certain films. But one thing constitutionally as a family, and I think Raj Kapoor, Krishna Kapoor, and I'm specifically talking about them, is that he's had, I mean, obviously Joker being, I mean, this is a story that I know with Joker, not, it was way ahead of its times, and at that time was one of the biggest disasters before he bounced back with Bobby. And at that time, he had lost pretty much everything that he had created, financially as well. The one thing he didn't give up was obviously a roof over his children's head and his wife's head, which is the bungalow, which is a big part of our film as well. But I think constitutionally, in good times and bad times, uh, the Kapoor family are very, very strong and strong for each other, and we come together as an army. So I think, and that started, I think, from the Raj Kapoor and Krishna Kapoor era, and I've seen that with my mom. uh, you know, uh, uh, you know, always with a smiling and happy face through any time. And like you said, with certain incidents recently, and with my a lot of losses within our family, it's been very tragic and difficult. But I think the best part is, and this is one of the intents and the reasons why we're making this film, is family, and family being family for each other in all times, right? And I think bouncing back is completely part of our DNA, and it's also a generational thing. So yeah.
Yeah. Arman, would you, it's more of a request or a commitment that I'm asking from you, instead of a question, would you consider, reviving RK films as well? Because I was a huge part of his legacy.
I mean, it's always a mammoth task. I mean, it was he was making film cinema about 35, 40 years ago. It's something that we need to, as a family, obviously internally huddle and see. But I think, what, like I said, what the family is doing in their own way. I mean, yes, of course, cinema and RK Studios is a huge part of the legacy and something that he created. I mean, it needs a lot of hard work to do justice to what that man created. And especially all the sacrifices, that come along with it. But I think what we are doing in our own way, and I think that's what the film is also reflective of, is that we're trying to carry on certain traditions in our own way that were taught to us. So I think that legacy is something which even I'm a firm believer of. Even Smriti is a legacy keeper herself. We're all firm believers of carrying on legacy, even in the smallest form. So we're all doing that in our own way, and I think at the right time we come together, I'm sure we'll be able to, you know, do something.
Yeah. Finally, I can't let you guys go without talking about food. So I just want to
Yes,
know,
please.
just give me a sense of who the bigger foodie is among Karishma and Karina, because we all have that perception that they're both, actresses, they don't really eat, but can you break that myth for us?
No, actually, Karishma eats a lot more than Karina. A lot more than Karina. I don't know her metabolism. She's so lucky, but she really does eat more than her. But Karina also is just a big foodie. But I think they're just so diligent. I think this generation is a little more, up to speed with like working out. And I think all of us, we work out maybe twice a day, thrice a day, so we can enjoy that meal. So we all love our food, but it's just that we're putting that extra effort into kind of, keeping ourselves, maintained. But I think both of them are huge foodies, and I mean, all of us are. But Karishma can eat a lot.
Yeah. And who's more of an outlier to the family? Is it Neetu Kapoor, because we see that she brings dabbas to every lunch or every meal? Or is it, say, a Saif Ali Khan, you all say that his IQ is, way off the charts than the rest of the Kapoor family? Who's more of an outlier to this family?
No, no. Actually, Saif enjoys his food too. So, I think Neetu auntie had a fair bit of, I think growing up, enjoyed a rich food. I think she was one of the first people in our family to really get into fitness in her
Mm,
generation.
yeah.
Uh, as the Kapoors, I mean, I'm saying this in a very positive light. If you see my mom, Rima, and then everyone in that generation, they all grew physically and, with age in a certain manner. And that
Mm,
was their, culture back then. But I think Neetu auntie was someone who really preserved herself very young. And
mm.
last 20 years, I mean, she's very particular about her bites and her meals, and someone I would say is not too indulgent with the Kapoor Khana, although she was in quite a few years ago. So
Very
definitely.
quickly, who's more of a Kapoor and who's more of a Bachchan between Agastya and Navya? Are
I
they
mean,
more Kapoors? Are
like
they
to
more
understand,
Bachchans?
I would like to understand what would the difference be in traits or personality. Okay, please go on. Sorry.
No, no, I'm just asking that, are they more Kapoors or are they more Bachchans?
I think they both have firstly, I mean, their dad is a Nanda, so I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of Nanda blood. I've grown up in their home in Delhi, which is beautiful with my Masi. They have a lot of Nanda blood. I'll be honest. They have a fair bit of Bachchan and Kapoor blood. Yeah, I think it's a good mix. I think they've got the best of all the family members.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I hope you keep feeding a lot of people, just like your grandfather did, and keep hosting everyone. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Smriti.